As I think all of you know, events like this don't come together by accident. There'll be roughly 200 of us over the course of the next day and a half, and so we're deeply grateful for the planning teams at the Animal Health Commission and Parks and Wildlife and the Veterinary Diagnostic Lab, of course, and others that help contribute to it. But I certainly don't want to forget my manners and thank the Gregory family, our hosts. I see Jennifer, Justin, and Jimmy in the back. We all got treated to a wonderful show coming in. They do so much for wildlife and conservation, exotic game, help to support zoos all over the country and the world. They're deep believers in the things that everybody in this room cares about. They graciously open up this facility for events like this. And Jimmy and Justin and Jennifer, thank you for your warm and wonderful hospitality. And so thank you for having us today. So appreciate it very much. The Parks and Wildlife Foundation was also a sponsor of the symposium and helped to make that possible financially, and so we're very grateful for them, as well as, again, Dr. Akey, the vet lab there that partnered with AgriLife, who I understand is going to be filming the symposium so that those who couldn't be with us today can watch that and see it in other places. We've got a lot of dignitaries in this room. One of the ways I have learned to keep those lists short over the years is to ask anybody who wants to be recognized formally to come up to the stage, and I'll be happy to introduce you. In all seriousness, we do have a few elected officials that I think are going to be with us at some point during the next day and a half. Where is Dr. Stuckey? Representative Stuckey is with us today. Representative Stuckey, Dr. Stuckey, a veterinarian from up in Denton. And so, Representative, thank you for joining us today. Appreciate your representation of Denton as a whole. We've also have representation from the Animal Health Commission and Parks and Wildlife Commission that are with us. I see Chairman Coleman Locke, the chair of the Animal Health Commission, is with us. I think Dr. Vickers is going to be with us as well, and Commissioner Oates, I believe, is going to be joining us. Our newest Parks and Wildlife Commissioner, Beaver Applin, is with us up front, and of course our Chairman Emeritus, Lee Bass, is with us today, and our Chairman, Ralph Duggins, will be here soon. And so, gentlemen, thank you all for joining us. Appreciate your support of this symposium. Thank you. We also have a special guest from Mexico, Commissioner Maricela Fernandez, who's head of the Tamaulipas Hunting and Fishing Commission. And so, Commissioner, did you make it here yet? It's okay, all right. He may be getting coffee in the back and warming up by the fire, but we'll give him a big Texas welcome when he comes. So why are we here? What do we want to accomplish? And before I turn it over to my colleagues, Dr. Akey and Dr. Schwartz, to say a few words about that, I'll say a few on behalf of Parks and Wildlife Department. And obviously, in the middle of deer season, that question seems a little bit rhetorical for the 800,000 of us that enjoy getting out in our states, hill country and brush country and piney woods and deserts and mountains and senderos and all of these wonderful places that define our home ground and allow us to help pursue our favorite game quarry across our great state. But obviously, from a state perspective, we're concerned about more than that. Deer, both whitetail and mule deer, are the proverbial goose that laid the golden egg. They are the principal driver of rural real estate values in most every rural county across our state. They're the predominant species of wildlife interest to our 250,000 landowners, our farmers and ranchers and wildlife enthusiasts and deer breeders and others that have the responsibility and charge of stewarding 95% of our home ground, the places where our deer and other game obviously roam and call home. Deer are the backbone for wildlife and recreation and outdoor-based economy that each year contributes a little over $50 billion a year to our economy and direct consumer spending. And they're the subject of intense interest and really primary interest on wildlife management plans that we provide to our partners in the private lands community on over 31 million acres across our home ground. And to put that in perspective, that's roughly about 20% of all of Texas. And so suffice to say, the health and vitality and welfare of our deer populations, our deer herds, our hunting heritage, the health of that critically important wildlife species, and all of us that share a common interest in stewarding it is of paramount importance to everyone in this room. And obviously, we have many partners in this room that have been with us all along the way as we've had the challenging situation of having to deal with what was unquestionably a very unwelcome discovery in our state when we found chronic wasting disease out in the Waco Mountains in free-range mule deer populations out in West Texas. Since that time, as a state, our strategy had really focused on two things, early detection and containment. To encapsulate that, basically keeping a bad problem from getting worse and keeping a bad problem from spreading to other places where clearly everybody in this room and much further beyond don't want to see it. We've got many, many partners that have helped us pull the sled in this endeavor. If we have sought to arrest the spread of this disease, better understand it, hone and shape and refine our management strategies, again, across the species of interest that are susceptible to it, and all of the landowners and breeders and wildlife enthusiasts and hunters and others that care passionately about deer and all of our other states' wildlife. I want to ask my colleagues from a couple of our partner agencies to come forward and share a few words with you this morning as we kick off the session. Very pleased to ask our friend and colleague, Dr. Bruce Akey, needs no introduction at A&M and the head of the Veterinary Medical Diagnostic Lab there, has a long and distinguished track record of not only private practice but public service. Thrilled that the state, and particularly A&M, was able to convince him to leave Cornell, where he was the assistant dean of the vet school, and come to A&M, where he's now head of the lab, and he and his team of vet techs and veterinarians and researchers have been absolutely extraordinary partners. We have had to amplify our sampling and process many, many tens of thousands of CWD tests across the state. And so, Dr. Akey, very proud to have you with us. Thank you.
Well, howdy. Thank you. Always does an A&M person good to hear that coming back at you. Happy to be here this morning. Thank you so much for asking us to take part in this symposium. When somebody introduces you as having a long and distinguished history, that just means you're getting old, right? I guess I fit that from top to bottom now. CWD, prior to 2015, when things really got heated up here in Texas, it was certainly testing that we were doing on a routine basis already, but we were testing on the order of about 15,000 samples a year before that year. And then after 2015, things ramped up pretty quickly, and in the next couple of years, we tested north of 90,000, almost 100,000 samples just out of Texas. So it quickly grew to be a really big deal for us as well. And I can't thank enough our staff, who's been just exemplary in standing up the increased capacity that was needed to respond to that, and to make sure that you all got what you needed when you needed it, and at a price you could afford, hopefully, too, because we're sensitive to that as well. So as Mr. Smith said, we are definitely partners in all of this. We are a state agency, just like Parks and Wildlife and Animal Health Commission. We are here to serve the people of the state of Texas. So if you ever feel like you're not being served, just give me a holler. That's what I'm there for, and we'll see what we can do to try to make it right for you if we possibly can. So I'm not going to take a lot of the time with the intros because there's a lot of other folks besides me that you want to hear from today. But thank you so much for inviting us. We're happy to be here. And yeah, as was mentioned, our partners in AgriLife are filming this so that we'll have something that folks that couldn't make it here today will be able to listen to as well. So shall I? You're welcome
to introduce me. I'll say whatever you like about it.
Oh, now I have to be nice. No, another one of those three great partners in this endeavor is Texas Animal Health Commission, without a doubt. And it's been my distinct pleasure to get to know Dr. Andy Schwartz both before and now that he's become the Executive Director of Texas Animal Health Commission. You couldn't have a better person watching over you. He brings the science, and he brings compassion and passion for what he does. He's really the best man for the job that I've met in my long and distinguished tenure. So please welcome to the stage Dr. Andy Schwartz.
Wow, that was pretty good off the cuff. Now, I'm glad that's being recorded. So, good morning, everyone. Andy Schwartz with the Texas Animal Health Commission. I'm honored to have follow these distinguished gentlemen, Carter Smith and Dr. Akey here at this podium, and pleased to welcome you to this symposium on behalf of the commission, and pleased to have my chairman, Coleman Locke, here. So I just wanted to say that the Animal Health Commission is passionate about what we do. We are working hard to protect the health and marketability of this valuable commodity, the exotic cervids in the state and the white-tailed deer population in the state, and we plan to continue that to our fullest ability. So the Animal Health Commission is charged with, has the authority over exotic cervids, exotic livestock in the state, and we set the entry requirements for animals moving into the state. So we're conducting those activities to help protect your assets and our state assets. We also administer the Voluntary certification program, and we've seen enrollment in that program rise to above 300 herds in the last several years. And so deer breeders are seeing the value in that program, and we're really pleased with that. And our program meets the national standards, so you're able to sell deer across state lines if you choose to do so. The Animal Health Commission also administers the certification of antemortem and postmortem testers, and we've seen tissue collectors, sample submitters, and we've seen a great participation in that program. Our primary role is also case investigation. Unfortunately, when there is a case of chronic wasting disease or disease investigation to be conducted, that's where we come to the forefront. And I want to commend our staff for working many hours on customized herd plans and investigations for those folks who have been touched by this devastating disease. We work hard, commissioners work hard to keep our rules and programs science-based and where they make sense, and we use the latest technology, the latest knowledge that's available. We built on that. We had a symposium in this very location just almost 3 years ago now, shortly after CWD had been found in a captive cervid herd in Texas, and we worked closely with Texas Parks and Wildlife Department to develop rules and programs based on the science that was available then, and modify that as knowledge has been advanced. And we're really looking forward to the next day and a half to hear our expert speakers and gain some knowledge and put that knowledge to use over the coming months and years. So thank you very much.